Have you ever wondered what it would be like to set sail aboard a ship haunted by spirits from the past, from ships lost to time, forever cursed by their tragic past, to eerie encounters that defy explanation? These haunted ships are not just tales, they're real mysteries waiting to be uncovered. Here are some of the most haunted ships that still roam the seas. The Queen Mary, the Grey Ghost of Long Beach. Let's start our haunted voyage with the infamous Queen Mary, docked in Long Beach, California. This luxury liner was once the epitome of elegance and power, but it wasn't just known for its high-profile passengers. During World War II, the ship was repurposed as a troop transport vessel, nicknamed the Grey Ghost. While it played a critical role in the war, the Queen Mary has also become infamous for its ghostly encounters. Imagine walking down the ship's narrow hallways at night, hearing the distant sound of children laughing, or seeing shadowy figures that disappear the moment you focus on them. The Queen Mary's most famous spirit is that of John Pedder, a young engineer who tragically died in the engine room when a heavy door crushed him. Guests often report hearing clanging sounds and seeing ghostly apparitions in the area where Pedder met his fate. But that's not all. There's also the tale of a woman in white who has been seen dancing alone in the ship's grand ballroom. Legend has it she was a bride who never made it to her wedding day. And if you're really brave, you might want to spend the night in stateroom B340, widely regarded as the most haunted room on the ship. Paranormal investigators have recorded everything from objects moving on their own to strange, inexplicable voices. If you're a skeptic, visiting the Queen Mary might change your mind. The ship now operates as a floating hotel and museum, but many guests leave with more than just photographs. They leave with stories they'll never forget. The Flying Dutchman, the eternal ghost ship. Now let's delve into one of the oldest and most famous ghost ships in maritime legend, the Flying Dutchman. This spectral ship is said to appear out of nowhere, sailing the seas with its torn sails and a ghostly crew. Unlike other haunted ships, the Flying Dutchman doesn't dock at any port. It's condemned to forever wander the oceans, never able to make landfall. The story of the Flying Dutchman goes back to the 17th century, where the Dutch ship's captain, Hendrik van der Decken, defied the gods during a terrible storm near the Cape of Good Hope. Despite warnings from his crew, he insisted on continuing, even cursing the storm. Legend says that in punishment for his arrogance, the ship was doomed to sail the seas for eternity. Sightings of the Flying Dutchman have been reported for centuries, with sailors claiming to see the ghostly ship glowing faintly on the horizon before vanishing into thin air. One of the most famous sightings occurred in 1881, when Prince George of Wales, who would later become King George V, and his crew reported seeing the phantom ship while sailing off the coast of Africa. The sighting reportedly left the crew shaken, and many believed it was an omen of disaster. To this day, sailors still share tales of seeing the Flying Dutchman, always from a distance, always just out of reach. Its haunting image serves as a reminder that some curses can last forever, even on the high seas. The USS Hornet, a floating battlefield. Our next stop is aboard the USS Hornet, a retired aircraft carrier with a history steeped in death and tragedy. Commissioned in 1943 during World War II, the USS Hornet played a critical role in several major battles in the Pacific. However, with war comes loss, and the ship saw its fair share of death, including numerous suicides and accidental deaths that occurred on board. It's no surprise that the ship has earned a reputation for being haunted. Visitors often report hearing footsteps echoing through the ship's steel corridors, only to turn around and find no one there. Others have reported seeing shadowy figures, hearing disembodied voices, and feeling sudden cold spots in certain areas of the ship. One of the most unsettling stories comes from the engine room, where a number of accidents occurred. Visitors claim to feel a heavy, oppressive energy in the space, as though the spirits of those who died here are still present, trapped in the very machinery that took their lives. Ghost hunters have been drawn to the USS Hornet for years, with many paranormal investigators calling it one of the most haunted locations in the United States. If you ever visit, be prepared to encounter the unexplainable, and maybe bring some extra courage along with you. The SS Valencia, the ghost ship of the Pacific coast. Next on our haunted journey is the SS Valencia, a passenger steamship that met a tragic fate off the coast of Vancouver Island in 1906. The Valencia was on its way from San Francisco to Seattle when it encountered a powerful storm that drove it into the rocky shores. The ship was unable to free itself and began to sink. Tragically, over 100 passengers and crew members perished, many of them dragged down into the icy waters. What makes the SS Valencia truly eerie is not just the tragedy itself, but the number of ghostly sightings that followed. For years after the shipwreck, sailors and fishermen reported seeing the wrecks of the Valencia off the coast, its mast still standing and ghostly figures wandering its decks. One of the most famous stories is that of a lifeboat from the Valencia, which mysteriously reappeared, floating near the shore years after the disaster. Locals also tell stories of hearing the cries and screams of passengers at night, as if they are reliving the final moments of the doomed voyage. Some have even reported seeing ghostly lifeboats rowing aimlessly in the water, filled with shadowy figures, while the SS Valencia's wreckage has long since disappeared beneath the waves. The stories of her hauntings continue to this day. For sailors along the Pacific Northwest coast, the ship remains a chilling reminder of the sea's unforgiving nature and the souls that never found peace. The SS Orang Medan, the mystery of the ghostly crew, the story of the SS. Orang Medan remains one of the most bizarre and chilling maritime mysteries. According to the legend, in the late 1940s, a Dutch freighter named the SS Orang Medan sent out a distress signal in the Strait of Malacca. The message was chillingly clear. All officers, including the captain, are dead, lying in chart room and bridge, possibly whole crew dead. After that, only 2 words were transmitted: I die. When nearby ships finally located the Orang Medan, what they found was deeply disturbing. The entire crew was dead, their bodies scattered across the deck, faces frozen in expressions of pure terror. There were no signs of injury or struggle, and some accounts even claimed the crew had their arms extended, as though fending off an invisible attacker. Salvage teams reportedly boarded the ship, but before they could uncover the cause of death, a mysterious fire broke out in the hold, causing the Orang Medan to explode and sink into the depths. Over the years, the tale of the Orang Medan has become a maritime ghost story, with theories ranging from chemical leaks to paranormal attacks. To this day, the fate of the Orang Medan and its crew remains unexplained, another eerie chapter in the annals of haunted seafaring. The SS Bannockburn, the Flying Dutchman of the Great Lakes. While the Flying Dutchman is known to haunt the oceans, the Great Lakes have their own spectral vessel. The SS Bannockburn, often referred to as the Flying Dutchman of the Great Lakes. This Canadian freighter vanished in November 1902 while navigating Lake Superior, carrying a cargo of wheat. The Bannockburn and its 21-man crew were never seen again, at least not among the living. In the years following the ship's disappearance, sailors began reporting sightings of the Bannockburn on foggy nights, sailing along Lake Superior's treacherous waters. The ship would appear as a shadowy figure, its decks eerily deserted, and its sails set as if navigating to some otherworldly destination. Some sailors claimed the ghostly ship appeared right before a major storm, as though it was a grim omen of danger. Despite countless searches, no wreckage from the Bannockburn was ever found, and her fate remains one of the Great Lakes' most enduring maritime mysteries. To this day, sailors on Lake Superior keep a wary eye out for the ghostly silhouette of the SS Bannockburn, fearing that encountering her may be a sign of trouble ahead. The HMS Eurydice, a Royal Navy tragedy. The HMS Eurydice was a British Royal Navy training ship that met with disaster in 1878. She was returning to England from a training voyage in the West Indies when a sudden and violent snowstorm struck just off the Isle of Wight. The Eurydice, unprepared for the weather, capsized, and tragically, nearly all of the 319 crew members perished in the icy waters. Since then, the ghost of the Eurydice has reportedly haunted the waters where she sank. Sailors and fishermen have claimed to see the ship rise from the water on misty days, her sails fully set, only to vanish as quickly as she appeared. Perhaps the most famous sighting occurred in 1930 when no less than the Prince of Wales, later King Edward VIII, and his yacht crew spotted the phantom ship off the coast. The haunting of the HMS Eurydice has captured the imagination of many, and she remains one of the best-known ghost ships in British waters. Sailors passing near the Isle of Wight still talk of the ship that reappears, a tragic reminder of a disaster long past, yet somehow still present. The Eliza Battle, the fiery ghost ship of the Tombigbee River. The Eliza Battle was a luxury paddle steamer that met a fiery end in 1858 on the Tombigbee River in Alabama. Known for transporting both passengers and cargo along the river, the Eliza Battle was making its way through icy waters during a cold February night when a fire broke out on board. The blaze quickly consumed the wooden vessel, and despite desperate attempts to save lives, the fire claimed the lives of many passengers and crew. What makes the Eliza Battle particularly haunting is the way it's said to appear. According to local legends, on cold, foggy nights, the burning ship can still be seen steaming down the river, its decks ablaze with ghostly flames. Some witnesses have even claimed to hear the faint cries of the doomed passengers, calling out for help as they perish in the inferno. River pilots who work along the Tombigbee are particularly superstitious about the Eliza Battle, believing that seeing the burning ship is an omen of disaster, perhaps even warning of an impending storm or accident. To this day, the spectral vision of the blazing steamer serves as a chilling reminder of the dangers of river travel in the 19th century. The Mary Celeste, the ship that sailed without a crew. Perhaps one of the most famous ghost ship stories of all time, the mystery of the Mary Celeste has baffled historians and sailors alike since 1872. The American brigantine was found drifting in the Atlantic Ocean, perfectly seaworthy and with all of its cargo intact, but with no sign of its crew. The ship's lifeboat was missing, and it appeared as though the crew had left in a hurry, but no one ever saw them again. The disappearance of the crew sparked endless speculation. Some suggested they had fallen victim to pirates, while others believed they may have been overcome by toxic fumes from the ship's alcohol cargo. However, no conclusive evidence has ever surfaced, and the fate of the crew remains one of the sea's greatest unsolved mysteries. What adds a spectral layer to the Mary Celeste story are the numerous reports of ghostly sightings of the ship itself. Over the years, sailors have claimed to see the Mary Celeste adrift on the horizon, appearing as a ghostly apparition before disappearing into the mist. While the ship was eventually sold and continued to sail for years, it is her legend as a ghost ship that endures. The Palatine Light, the burning ship of Block Island, the story of the Palatine. Light is one steeped in maritime lore and tragedy. In the 18th century, a ship named the Palatine, or Countess Augusta, was carrying German immigrants to America when it became stranded off the coast of Block Island, Rhode Island. According to legend, the ship was plundered by local wreckers who set it on fire, leaving the passengers and crew to perish in the flames or the frigid waters. Ever since, locals have reported sightings of a fiery ghost ship known as the Palatine Light, seen burning off the coast of Block Island on stormy nights. The apparition appears as a bright, flickering light, as if the ship is still ablaze, and then vanishes as quickly as it appeared. Some versions of the story claim that the Palatine's haunting is the result of a curse, while others believe it is a tragic, residual haunting. Whatever the explanation, the Palatine Light continues to baffle and intrigue those who witness the mysterious flames on the horizon. The SS Bachimo, the ghost ship of the Arctic. The SS Bachimo was a steel-hulled cargo steamer that became famously known as the ghost ship of the Arctic. In 1931, after becoming trapped in ice near Alaska, the crew abandoned the ship, assuming it would eventually sink. However, the Bachimo did not go down. Instead, it broke free from the ice and began drifting aimlessly through the Arctic seas, becoming an eerie floating mystery. Over the decades, the Bachimo was sighted numerous times by Inuit hunters, explorers, and passing ships. She was spotted adrift, intact but unmanned, with no signs of life aboard. Despite several attempts to board and salvage her, the Bachimo continued to elude capture, vanishing into the icy wilderness, only to reappear years later. The last confirmed sighting of the Bachimo was in 1969, almost 40 years after she was abandoned. Since then, her fate remains unknown. Did she finally succumb to the freezing waters of the Arctic? Or is she still wandering the northern seas as a ghostly reminder of a time long past? While you may never set foot on one of these haunted ships, the stories alone are enough to send shivers down your spine. So the next time you board a ship, or even walk along the shore, take a moment to think about the sailors, passengers, and ships lost to the sea, and the possibility that some of them might still be out there waiting to tell their stories. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more spine-chilling tales from the past. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe. You never know what ghostly encounter could be waiting just over the horizon.